How are you?
And how are you?
How's it going, man?
Good, good, good. How are you?
Not bad. Hold on, let me fix my volume real quick.
Sure, sure, sure. Can you hear me now?
Yep, now I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So how's your day going on?
Not bad, man. I did some work down at the Cranberry Bogs here in Carver, Mass this morning and got out a little bit early for the heat and now we're here.
Okay. So where you located in Boston as well? Near Boston?
So I'm located in a small town called Carver, which is about an hour outside of Boston.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
But I know the city pretty well.
Okay, all right, okay. So welcome to my podcast. It's a MMA podcast, and you are a promoter and also a big lover of MMA and into production as well. So this stage is yours. Tell me a little bit about you. I saw your journeys with UFC and your close encounters with top fighters. So just share a little bit.
So my journey with the videos with the MMA thing that started about 2.5 years ago. I have a good friend, Joe Poirier. Again, he's from the same small town as me, Carver. We went to high school together, and for about the past decade or so, he started training and started fighting, and I've always kind of been around. And I started going to his fights, and I would always just take videos on my cell phone and post it on Snapchat, whatever. And people seemed to like it, and
Mhm.
him and his coach Pete Luciani, they always told me, "Why don't you get a nice camera and start like actually documenting this stuff?" So about 2.5 years ago, I bought my camera, and the rest was history. It's been going pretty good, and can't wait to see what the future holds for these guys.
That's great. That's great because sometimes I think that UFC is an illusion. It's all about presentation. It's all about packaging. It's all about showcasing your fighters.
Absolutely,
And that's the difference between any other promotion as compared to One or BKFC or Bellator or PFL or Karate Combat. The UFC, and I think now that they have bought WWE as well, so I think their main interest was how because WWE was always known for its production value, whether when it was WWF or giving characters to their fighters, everything. So it's about packaging, and
absolutely,
sometimes I feel like I said that. Beyond the skills of the fighters and the craft and the time that they spent in their various martial arts, it's about how you project them and how you and at the end of the day, like you said, it's coming back full circle where fighters are now using their friends and families and people around them to take footage of their exercise routines or taking ice dips and various recovery techniques and all those things. So it's at the end of the day, it's about the following that you have online. And
absolutely. I've been saying this for a while. Like UFC, MMA, it's a very new sport. Like as compared to the MLB or the NFL or the NBA, and the UFC kind of evolved with social media. It's a very social media driven promotion. So I feel like like you said, it's all about the packaging and how these guys present themselves, and that's a huge part of it.
that's
How
true.
entertaining they are. It I wouldn't say it's as important, but it's almost as important with that is how talented they are.
I think it is even more important than sometimes than the skills itself because it's the story that you tell about the back behind the scenes stories and how they started. For example, I was before you, I was interviewing Connor Matthews, and
He's another very good friend of mine. Actually, I was just with him the other day.
oh, that's cool. That's cool. So
Yeah,
his past as a veteran and his upbringing under the karate and taekwondo influence, and his journey. It's so mesmerizing that I was telling, in fact, you as well, and I told him we can make a movie on that, and of course,
oh,
now
absolutely.
that the not only the cell phones, but now that the the model of business has changed. It's beyond theaters, and now it's on video on demand. And
Right.
it's high time that the real action heroes should be the action heroes, instead of the
Oh,
Tom or
absolutely. I
people.
agree
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and they don't have to, like I was telling Connor, that you don't have to fake action because it's there. You know action. You don't need to have.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Again, like I tell a lot of people this about the videos that I make. It's like it's different from anything else because when I go to make these videos, number one, it doesn't work unless these guys win, which the guys I work with, they happen to be pretty good at that. So that's good.
right.
But also, like, you never know how it's going to go. You never know what you're going in there to film. It's just you go in there, you film it, and it's, how it comes out is how it comes out. So it's exciting, and when it goes right, which it seems to have been going right for a while now, it's rewarding.
Yes, and I think that's that kind of presentation is what skews people's inclination and favoritism and interest, and even in some cases betting and gambling as well.
Oh, yeah.
If you showcase your skills, like apart from what UFC is doing for you, if you are just your team around you, your coaches, your people around you, if they are just sharing your snippets, and because when you are on the mat, you are doing your thing, you are not aware of what's going on around you. But if some people can take a slice of life situations from your daily routine, it can really create a difference, not only in terms of the kind of fights you get, but also the ratings and all this pound for pound things. And although I don't believe in numbers, but again, the records, people follow that, people follow the rankings, and
Oh, yeah.
that's all being dominated. And even I think to some extent, because people have limited exposure to their lives, and whoever shares more then get the traction and the mileage. And ultimately, in many cases, even the ratings as an underdog or a favorite is heavily influenced by all these campaigns that go around all these fighters, because you know uh, in many cases, for example, the other day I was pumping gas, and there was this guy standing next to me, and I was wearing a UFC pullover, and he said, "Oh, you're a UFC fan?" Is that? Yes, yeah. So he told me that he is a fighter as well himself, and he's registered in
Nice.
New York. And so what I'm saying is that in many situations, they are like everyday people, but it's these stories and these
They,
packaging.
they really are, man. That's another thing I tell people all the time is that everybody that I've met in the fight community, whether it's a UFC fighter or it's somebody at Cage Titans or an amateur, whatever, like all these guys are super humble, super supportive, down to earth, nice guys. And
That's
you
right.
would think, they could kill you with your bare hands. You would think they'd be intimidating, but no, it's like the exact opposite. They're all very nice people, from my experience.
That's right.
I'm sure there's a couple bad apples out there, but I haven't run into any yet.
Of course, there are bad apples in every in situation and in every
Yeah,
group. But when people are really strong, they don't like to show it. Just like mafia people, the top bosses. You will know you will never know how many murders that guy have committed, because he would be so down to earth and kind and humble. Because and also in many cases, like this guy was telling me that since his hand is registered, he cannot fight anyone. I mean, there are kind of chains on him in real life. If there is a
yeah,
situation, anybody can fight, but they cannot fight because then they'll lose their license.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Especially, in places like Vegas and Miami or
Oh
Arizona.
yeah, it's easy to get in trouble in those cities.
Yes, yes, exactly. I
Not
mean,
saying I know from experience, but I've heard.
yeah, because I was watching this guy, Wes Watson, and I'm not sure if you're aware of him, but he's like bullying all these MMA fighters. And he was saying that in prison, these people won't last, And but then he goes that, but then if you look at the situation inside the cage, there is a referee to save you if you are in a dire situation, chokehold, or
Yeah,
if you're running around and you are really in in trouble. But outside, whether it is a street fight or whether it is in a bar, the situation is totally different, and you are on
Right.
your own. And then only the police can intervene, and that could be much later as well. So and then again, I was speaking to Connor, and I told him that uh, sometimes when I see some amazing fighter, I feel that it's just a game, and it's all about timing. It's like, when you, whether you're, like you said, that the sport is relatively young, 30, 40 years old. NFL and basketball and all the soccer, they're like more than 100 years old. So the game is still evolving, and that's a good and bad in the way that there is no federation, and then UFC keeps on making laws and on the go, and
Right.
rules on the go. So and then of course there is some backlash as well because of that. And of course the injuries part, I was watching Dustin Poirier's showdown for Saturday, and he said that he had a hip injury, and it took forever for him to acknowledge and realize that it's high time that I should get a surgery. and,
Yeah.
and I used to see him that he was always playing with his shorts whenever he used to get nervous. And I
Yeah.
used to ask, what's the problem, what's going on? And now I heard and I found that because he had some issue in his hip, and after Abu Dhabi that he got it fixed, and then now he feels fine. So there is a huge price. These guys put their healths and bodies on the line to provide entertainment, because I think they are the real gladiators of a time.
Absolutely, man. And a couple of the guys that I'm close with that I work with, I've seen them go through that same thing with injuries. They take almost a year off, and
Oh my
it's what
God.
they have to do because if they don't do that, then it just ends up even worse down the line, and it could be career ending. So
That's right. That's right.
it's tough, but
Yeah. Yeah. I was also talking to a PFL executive the other day, and I asked Connor, if you want, I can, talk to him. And
right,
yeah, so, but he said, I need a year break. And then I thought that, he would be 34, because this is their bread and butter. The age
hmm,
is, they're the key. And unless you are still making millions, then, it's fine. If you're Adesanya or you are John Jones and you have made a lot of money and you're going
right,
into late 30s, then it's fine. Otherwise, this is the prime time. But like you said, there's so many things that we don't know what's going on with their psyche, with PTSD, trauma. Because I was listening to Gaethje. He says that whenever the fight is coming near, I become anxious, and in the cage he looks so calm and
right,
so relaxed. So there is a heavy price that they have to pay. And I also wanted to pitch you an idea, in the sense that I was working on an app, and it will be because the Jake Paul model is amazing, and that can be replicated. And also a lot of the fighters who are on entry level, because like you
right,
said, these mainstream sports like basketball, baseball, they've been around for 100 years, and this is still coming. And when the MMA or UFC took over, they were people who were either into karate or either into kickboxing or Muay Thai, or very few were into BJJ. So they were also trying to create a combination of techniques and learning things on the go. But last 10 years, or at least last 5 years, there's been an explosion, and kids are very geared and motivated, and I see a lot of BJJ dojos around me, and of course the UFC gym. So you see a lot of people who are now practicing it and taking classes and taking it very seriously, especially with the kind of exposure they get, the fame, the money, and the glamour. So I was thinking that all these fighters who cannot make up to the UFC roster or all these other promotions rosters, they still have a lot of fire in them. And just like Jake Paul, they can have an app where they can promote their profile with people like you or the fans, who can
right.
take their footages and create a self made a fight world or a fight economy. in the sense that people can bid on them or bet on them, and then crowdfund and get a return on their investment. So in that, you can be the production arm of it, because uh,
Absolutely, man.
yeah.
I love that idea because like you said, these fighters, like, a lot of people talk about the idea that fighters don't get paid enough, and I 100% agree. And some people might make the argument that, like, oh, they're only fighting one, two, three times a year. These are the people that are casual fans that don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. I hang out with these guys. I see they train every single day, multiple times a day. They like, they're it's a full time job for them. It's
That's
almost like
right.
having two jobs. So,
It's more than a
these
full
guys
job.
deserve to be getting a lot more than what they're getting from the UFC. But so the idea that you have, I like that a lot. It's a type of platform that we could have where these fighters can, make their own money from their fans and not have the UFC interfere. I like that idea a lot.
That's right. And also, if somebody outshines, then they always have that option, because right
Right.
now they don't have a launching pad. Right now, what
Right.
happens is somebody is outstanding in Europe or Russia, or in South America. Then UFC notices them, and then tries to rope them in. But this will give them actually a platform where they can actually launch themselves. But and at the same time, UFC also, when it comes to giving bonuses, the disparity that lies between fighters of various ethnicities and geographical locations. Like, for example, the South American fighters, their packages, and the fighters from Africa, their packages, they differ vastly. And of course, based on the taxation and so many different cost of living aspects and so many other things. So this will actually provide them a launching pad in a way which will create an equal opportunity for everyone. And at the same time, UFC depends on these fighters as to how they are selling their fights, and that's the difference between Conor McGregor and everybody else, that he is.
Right. Yeah. You got the McGregors and the Sean O'Malley's and the John Joneses. Like, these are the guys that really promote themselves and put themselves out there, and they have a personality and, something about them, that, and like
Yes.
you said, those are the guys that tend to go the furthest in this sport. And
Yes.
I see that too.
And then they have team of people like you who follow them wherever they go, that brings them attention, because we are living in an
Oh
attention.
yeah, I've gotten to go to some pretty cool places hanging out with these guys. We've gone to Vegas, Atlantic City, New York, Manchester, New Hampshire. We've done a ton of road trips, and like I said, I'm excited to see what the future holds because these guys aren't slowing down anytime soon.
Yes, and also the thing is that with all this, like for example, there was a $500 million settlement that UFC recently lost to a lot of fighters before, who are not active anymore. So there the again UFC itself, fighting roster is only one aspect of UFC that people see. There is logistics and setting up these huge events and arenas, and then of course the production aspect, because the way they cover the fights, nobody else covers it, whether it is lighting, whether it is the mat, the color scheme, the apparel, all these things, merch. So there are a lot of moving targets, and of course, gambling is a major aspect of it. So that will give the audience even more chance to interact with people when they are crowdfunding for their fights. They will have more chance to be actually involved, because right now we end up fighting on Facebook, or arguing on X or Instagram, about our various favorite fighters. So this will
Right.
give them a chance to actually go up close and personal, like the kind of exposure you have with your friends. And this will give more chances to, because like I said, it's a bubble that's building up,
Right.
because there is a lot of excitement. And for me, even 500 fighters, if they are not compensating them well, I think UFC should not hold so many fighters, because there are so many different leagues. And there is also some level of underground community as well, building up in places like Arizona, or what is that place? Uh, Forgot the name where UFC started actually. So and of course,
I mean, we got the fight on the White House lawn by next year,
yes,
supposedly. You
that's
heard
what they're
about this?
planning. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
they're planning. Yeah, I mean that is going to be a huge upgrade for the sport in terms of exposure, because like the it's like I said, like you said, that it's a young sport, and there is a lot of excitement, and Donald Trump himself takes personal interest in it, and a lot of fighters back him up as well. So a huge chance for, and for example, Army has been a key sponsor for UFC over the years. So
right.
yeah, so it is going to be a huge point of inflection, in the sense that the sport will get worldwide coverage in a way where it was never taken seriously, and where in many countries, like for example in Scandinavia, it's still banned. In Spain, like Elia was saying that I want to bring it to Spain, but it is banned because you banned their bullfighting, and they are banning your real human fighting, which is a blood sport
Right.
in some way. So yeah, there is huge potential. And so tell me, what are some big name that you have met or interacted with?
So, so my name is Ryan Burke,
No, no,
and
no. The big names that of UFC that you have interacted with.
so big names of UFC that I've got to meet. I got to meet Sean O'Malley out in
Oh,
Vegas. That was cool. We were at I was out there with Connor and my buddy Joe Poirier, I was telling you about, and their manager, Tyson Chartier.
uh-huh.
We went out there for some karate combat fights. We had another friend of the team, Ross Levine, who was on the card. So we all went out there, spent like a week out there, and went to the fights. And I looked down a couple rows in front of me. I just see the pink afro. I'm like, no way. And so
Mhm.
I went up to him. I shook his hand, took a picture with him and stuff. That was cool.
Uh-huh.
I got to meet Cedriques Dumas down in Atlantic City. He's an interesting guy,
Uh-huh.
good guy.
Uh-huh.
Um, there's just a few that I've seen just around, but those are the main two that I've really shook hands
So
with. And
you've
then
been to
obviously,
UFC?
I did get to meet Calvin Cater. Shout out to him.
Oh,
He's got a great promotion up in Manchester, New Hampshire, and also he's on the New England Cartel
New
team
England, yes, yes.
along with those guys. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I've got to go to a lot of cool places and meet a lot of cool people hanging out with these guys. So
Have you been to UFC X ever?
what's that?
UFC X,
No.
the fight week, yeah.
I got to go to the PI out in Vegas with
Okay.
Connor when we went on that trip. Because that's where they all go to train and stuff, and he's allowed to bring one guest, and he brought me one day, so
Oh, wow,
I got
that's
I got to check out the whole facility, go in where they go
wow.
in the cold plunge and the hot tub in there, like
Right.
got to check everything out, so that was cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, we can definitely utilize your exposure and experience in the development of the app. I'm just working on the mechanics as to how everybody can contribute to the fight, and how we can set up a base pay for the fighter, and then based on whoever wins, then we're going to split up the money, and of course the winner is going to get some percentage, and the guy who loses the fight, he will also get, we're thinking about 10 to 15% and 25% or whatever they raise, based on their of course even 50,000 followers on Instagram is a big deal, and if anybody can invest in you with a prospect of getting a return on it, and they can watch that fight on YouTube live, then that's what the Jake model is all about. I mean, he was a YouTube star, and basically Showtime was generating money through advertising. And in our case, if we deploy the technology in the way that we are planning to, I think it could be a faster way to victory as compared to UFC, because UFC has persevered a lot of tough time in terms of regulations, in terms of gaining traction, and in terms of becoming famous, and even in terms of becoming profitable. Most of the years, like out of 30 years, 25 years they were not even into profit because the cost is so high of managing these events, organizing these events, and then
Right, right.
production cost, and then of course paying the fighters as well. So so I think it's gonna be fun, and we will definitely let you handle the production part of it, whether it
Absolutely,
is
man. I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, capturing the fights, or just getting some hype for the fighters.
Yeah,
So
definitely. That's that's what I love to do. So
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
looking forward to it.
yeah, so thank you so much, Ryan, for your time,
Yeah,
and
thank you, man, for having me. It's been good.
we will stay in touch, and I will share with you the details, and we're gonna take it from there.
Awesome, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
You too. Have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.